Okay, guys, we're going to do a quick little review of how to do measurement conversions. So I will keep it short, so just pay attention. And as long as you know how to do the rhymes from horse to fly, multiply, and from fly to horse, divide, of course. And if you know the metric system rhyme, King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk, you should be fine. And I will also show you how to calculate a fair share. There's only one question on the test about that, but if you watch this, you will know how to do it. Okay, so let's start. So the first thing is U.S. customary. U.S. customary is things like gallons, which you know we do milk in gallons. It's also things like cups, pints, quarts. Now, I've done a whole bunch of volume liquids, right? We call that capacity. Stuff that can fill up cups, right? Like a gallon of milk, a cup of water. Now, there are other ones in U.S. customary. For length, we have inches. An inch is about, each segment of your finger is 1 inch. So that's about 3 inches, right? We measure small things in small lengths in inches, like the back of a book or how long a sheet of paper is. Feet is for longer, like if we're measuring how tall somebody is. And then we go to yards, which is a lot longer, like a football field. Or how many yards away is the basketball court from our classroom. We'd measure that in yards. And then miles, obviously, people run miles. That's a lot longer. And then, which one am I forgetting here? I've got capacity, I've got length, weight. U.S. customary weights are things like pounds, and also we do ounces, but ounces is a lot smaller. Ounces is for like when you're measuring produce or a little bit of sugar. You might measure in ounces. Heavier things like humans, we measure in pounds. Okay, and I did not get a tissue, so I'm going to use my fingers for this. Oops. Okay, now we'll start with U.S. customary conversions. Here's the first one. Now this one will be similar to one on the test. So if they're asking me how many feet is the same as 62 inches. So this is what they've given me. I have 62 inches, and we want to know, okay, what is that in feet? What is it? Okay, so your very first step, step 1, write out the conversion. Step 1, write conversion. That means, what is the conversion for inches to feet? Well, I happen to know that there is 1 foot for 12 inches. That means there's 12 small inches in 1 foot. That's my known. Okay, step 2 is plug in what you know. We know that we have 62 inches. So after I write this, I'm going to write 62 right under this. This is what we have. What are they asking us? They want to know what this is in feet. So I'm going to put my question mark here. Once I've put the conversion I know, and then I plug in what they've given me, then I do my little rhyme. From horse to fly, multiply. From fly to horse, divide, of course. Now we know inches, and we're going to feet. Inches is smaller than feet. So we're going to go from fly to horse, divide, of course. Another trick is if your units are stacked like this, you're going to divide. But if they're across from each other, that's when you multiply. So I'm going to divide 12 into 62 to get my answer in feet. 12 into 62. Now we know our 12's times tables. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. Well, that's going to be it. 5 times it's going to go in, but not evenly. That means I'm going to have a remainder. 5 times 12 is 60. I have 2 left over. That's my remainder. So 5 remainder 2. So that means I have 5 feet, and the remainder is going to be leftover inches. 1 inch. 5 feet, 1 inch. Did that make sense how we did it? Okay. review, if you're not sure, review the slides that I put in Google Classroom. Now, let's move to metric. Metric for length is things like meters, that's the unit. And it goes all the way up to kilometers, and it goes down to millimeters is the smallest unit. That's length. Capacity is things like, and now I'm drawing complete blank here. I'm sure it'll come to me. Weight, though, is done in grams and kilograms, all the way down to milligrams. Yes, meter, grams. What was the other thing? Now I'm drawing complete blank. Length, weight, capacity. That's like liquids. They don't do gallons. Seriously, I'm drawing complete blank. But that's okay, because if you see kilo, milli, you know automatically that that is metric, okay? Now write out your rhyme. King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk across the front. Okay, once you have that, the unit goes here. So if it's meters, it goes here. If it, liters, that's what it is, it's liters. Whatever the unit is, it goes here. Grams, liters, or meters. Now let's say that we have, and it goes kilo, hecto, deca. Don't get deca and deci mixed up. Deca, your unit, deca, centa, milla. So let's say that we have 3,000 milliliters. I'm going to put it under milliliter, and we need to know how many, let's go all the way to kiloliters. We need to know how many kiloliters. So this is just like when we move our decimal point. Remember how I said a whole number, the decimal is always at the end. So your age, if you're 11, the decimal goes at the end of the last one. For the number 3,000, the decimal goes back here, like that. Now, we're going to figure out how many times we hop over based on how many letters there are. So we start here, we're going to hop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So let's hop. Here's our decimal point at the end of the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you remember what to do if there's holes here. You fill in a 0 here and a 0 here. So that means 3,000 milliliters is the same as 0.003000 milliliters. Or remember how I said all the zeros at the end of a decimal don't really matter? We can take it off and it would actually just be 0.0003 kiloliters. Going the other way is easier because all you have to do is add on zeros. So if it was the opposite and we had 3,000 kiloliters, all we have to do is hop, and that's how many zeros we tack on. So we're starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if we want to know how many to get all the way to milliliters. So that means that's how many zeros we tack on is 6. So we've already got 3,000. We're going to tack on 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, again, if you don't know where the commas go, count in from the back 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 billion. 3 billion. That's a lot. 3,000 kiloliters is 3 billion milliliters. Hopefully I did that right. That seems like a lot. Okay. Now lastly, fair share. There's only one question on the test about fair share, but it's important. So, pay attention. Fair share. You know what? I'm going to go over one more quickly because I think this is going to be confusing for you on the test. There's one on there that tells you to go from tons to pounds. So I'm going to change the numbers a little bit. This is U.S. customary. So step 1, write what you know. I happen to know that 1 ton, big T means ton, that's U.S. customary weights, is the same as, let's see, 2,000 pounds. Now pounds, they abbreviate with LBS for some weird reason. Okay, and let's say they give you a fraction. On the test, there's one that has a fraction. So let's say that, so step 2, write what you know, plug in your numbers, write it underneath. I happen to know that we have 2.5 tons. We've got a fraction here. And so I don't know pounds. That's what I need to know. So let's do our rhyme. We're going from the bigger unit to the smaller unit. So we're going from horse to fly, multiply. Or the trick, if the numbers are diagonal, you multiply. Now, it's a little bit tricky with a fraction, or you can change it to a decimal too. But in fraction form, when we multiply fractions straight across the top, if you have a mixed number like this, you have to make it improper first. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Keep the denominator the same. So 2.5 becomes 5 over 2. And we're going to times it by 2,000. Now, remember how whole numbers look like this over 1. So your age, if you're 11, that's the same as 11 over 1. So because we need to make it a fraction, we're going to put 2,000 over 1. Now we can times these. We always times straight across. 5 times 2,000, 5 times 2 is 10. And we add our 3 zeros. Over 2 times 1 is 2. And now we just divide 2 into 10,000, which is 2 into 10 is 5. And then we add 3 zeros. So the answer would be 5,000 pounds.